Happy Saturday, guys. Today's home workout is for time. 10 rounds of 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and 15 squats. And every minute on the minute, you're gonna be doing 5 deadlifts. Except for that first minute, or the 0 to the 1 minute mark, you're not doing any deadlifts. Except at the 1 minute mark, that's when you're starting. So, goal of this one is to finish those 10 rounds as fast as possible, so you don't have to do as many deadlifts in this workout. With movements, the pull-ups, you guys can use some bent over row option, or if you have some kind of setup for yourself for pull-ups, you can use that. Then 10 push-ups. I want you guys to think about breaking these ones up early if you find that your push-ups aren't the strongest. So maybe that means going 7 and 3, 6 and 4. Then those 15 air squats should be just kind of continuous. You're moving throughout them, no breaks in between. Then every minute on the minute, you're doing 5 deadlifts with a weight that you're comfortable picking up, keeping that back flat, and it's a little challenging. So if you don't quite have a barbell at home, you can use that dumbbell. We can use a sandbag if you have one, a bucket with that handle, maybe fill it up with some water, and you can use that as your deadlift weight. But goal with the deadlifts, you want to be doing them unbroken every single time and really putting your attention into the pull-ups, push-ups, and the squats of every round. So 20-minute time cap for this one. This is what I put for the class. Again, you should be kind of aiming towards that, or a little bit faster than that, but it shouldn't take you 30 minutes to finish this one. So make sure you have your progressions for it to allow you to finish a round every 2 minutes to be able to finish this one within 20 minutes. After the workout, guys, we're gonna work on that core, 20 seconds of a hollow, 20 seconds of arch, and then 20 seconds of an L sit. We're doing 3 sets of that. And I want you guys to try and keep them unbroken every time you go into each position. You can take as long as you want in between the rests and in between rounds, but focus on that technique, focus on keeping it unbroken, and your positioning as you do the movements today. Hope you guys enjoy the workout today and the afterburner. We'll see you guys next for the warm-up video.
Hey guys, we're gonna go over the warm-up now. We're gonna start with 2 minutes of good morning. So this is accumulated. You can do 1 minute, take a rest, do another minute, or you can do 20 seconds, 10-second rest. Just make sure the rest doesn't count. You want 2 minutes in total of this. You can do this with a PVC pipe, nothing heavy. We're really focusing on the hips and that posterior chain. So you're gonna hinge at the hips, keep those knees as straight as you can, and here you're gonna squeeze those glutes to come up. So again, push the hips back. You can have a micro bend in the knees, but keep them as straight as you can. That way you will feel a stretch in the hamstrings, and then you're gonna squeeze your glutes to come back up. Again, accumulate 2 minutes of that. After you're done with the 2 minutes, we're gonna do 3 rounds of 16 alternating jackknifes. You're gonna come down to the floor. We're gonna come into that nice and hollow position, and we're gonna go for 16 alternating jackknives where you bring one leg at a time. Don't let that low back come off the ground. Maintain that nice hollow. Break them out as you have to. Afterwards, you're gonna grab an object. You're gonna bring it in that nice front rack position, and we're gonna go for 8 and 8 alternating front rack lunges. So you're gonna go for 8 in total, and then you're gonna switch the arms, and you're gonna go for 8 more. We're going here for core stability in that front rack position. Don't let the knee pass your ankle. Push through the heel to come back up. When you're done with those, we're gonna go for some Turkish Get Up with a press, 4 and 4. Again, you want something light here. You're gonna come up into that Turkish Sit-Up. While you're up here, you're gonna bring that kettlebell or object down and go for a press, and then come back down and repeat for 4 on one side and then 4 on the other side. See you in the workout.
Off with a bent over row. So in that bent over row, feet are hip width apart, knees are perpendicular. Don't round your back, so flat back. If you're feeling tight, maybe you're up a little bit more, that's fine. If possible, drop down. From here, you're gonna row that bar, in my case, as close as you can to the body. So if I had a single object, I'm still thinking about nice and tight with my elbows, not to the body, but the back, to allow me to that tight bar pack that I can get with a PC pipe or bar.
With the push-ups here, guys, again, let's try and keep that nice tight hollow body, stay nice and straight the entire time. So with that said, let's not sag those hips, keep that butt tight, and then we're curling in that rib cage, keeping the abs tight. For the push-up here, I like to keep those elbow pits, or the inside elbow pits facing out in front of me. So I don't want them to face inwards. I like to keep them facing out in front so that when I break at the elbows, I'm keeping my elbows already nice and tight to my body. So that's a good cue for yourself, especially also when you're coming up. You want to think about pointing those elbow pits back out again. So you guys can do your push-ups off those toes. You guys can do a push-up where you come down and then rock back up from the knees, then to the toes. Kind of like a kipping push-up there, that's totally fine, as long as you're keeping that core nice and tight. Last thing, you can also try going off those knees. Just one error I see sometimes with these knee push-ups, guys, is that we keep our hips bent and then come down and push up like this. I want you to keep yourself nice and straight. So from your knees to your shoulders should be one straight line, them all the way down, and then back up again. Going into those air squats next. So air squats here, guys. Big thing, keep that chest tall. I like to kind of keep my hands out in front of me so that when I'm getting tired, I'm not looking down as I'm squatting. So I know some of you, when you get tired, hands kind of flop to the sides or in front of you and you're looking down. Try to keep those hands up a little bit taller and look straight ahead to keep that chest tall, and also to allow you to keep your weight more distributed towards that mid-foot and the heel. So again, as opposed to doing this, guys, we're trying to keep our hands up and try to stay on that mid-foot to heel more as we're coming down our squat and coming up from our squat.
A single arm deadlift, we like to place that item in between the feet. So your deadlift width is going to be about where you squat. You can go a little bit wider if you want to get into that sumo stance. That's totally fine as well. And what I want you guys to think about here is we're going to think about that hip hinge. So I'm going to think about pushing that hip back and then drawing my hips down after that. You can see my shin is still perpendicular to the ground. So the difference if I was squatting is my shin would be going a little bit forward. I actually want to push that hip back a little bit, get my hip up in the air a little bit, and then I'm going to hold on to my object. Pushing with the legs, opening with that hip, we're going to push that hip back, and then lower the object again with those legs. I want you guys to squeeze your butt at the top, make sure the abs are tight. Sometimes when we squeeze our butt, we tend to overarch. Let's make sure we don't do that. Also notice how my head and neck stay nice and neutral. So when I'm at the bottom of that deadlift, I'm not looking straight, I'm not looking down, but I'm kind of looking just maybe a couple feet out in front of me. I want the top of my head to my tailbone to stay in a nice and straight line. If you guys have the mobility and you find it easier or a different type of challenge perhaps, to stick to your normal deadlift position, so feet under that hip, and we're just going to keep that dumbbell or kettlebell outside the stance. It makes it a little bit trickier, but it might be a good challenge for you today to do that as long as you keep that back nice and flat. That's the most important part.
All right, hopefully you enjoyed that workout, guys. The afterburner for today is 3 sets, 20-second hollow hold, then 20-second arch hold, and then 20 seconds of that L-sit hold. So for the hollow hold, guys, as I mentioned before, a couple different ways to get into it. You can start straight off the ground and get into it. I like to get into that pike position first. Tight my core so I feel engagement in my lower abs and my rib cage is pulled down. Legs are tightened together so I'm pushing them inwards and pointing them out as much as I can. Then I'm going to rock back, keeping that upper back off the ground, legs off the ground, hands can be on my side or just overhead. 20 seconds here, guys. Really try to keep that engagement and shape consistent throughout. After 20 seconds, I'm going to flip over, get into that arch hold. So same kind of concept, reach out as much as you can, keep the legs straight, no bending the knees or the elbows. Lift the chest up, then the legs up, holding for that 20 seconds. Once you're done, we're getting into that L-sit hold. Now, with the L-sit, if you're comfortable, you guys can go off of an object to kind of lift you up off the ground. I'm going to show you guys kind of a basic scaling variation if you don't have any equipment to use for this, or you're still kind of building up that L-sit position. So we're going to work from that pike position today. For that L-sit here, legs nice and straight. With the hands, you can play around with how difficult you want to make it. You can be right by your side or right out in front of you. You're going to keep the legs together, lift the legs up, and hold that for the 20 seconds. Again, you're achieving that L-sit position, and again, really working on those lower abs to start building you towards a full L-sit. So you guys can totally use that today as your progression, or if you like, get your hands a little bit closer to your feet to make it a little bit more challenging. Hope you guys enjoy the afterburner. We'll see you tomorrow for the next workout.